Today, on Be Something Wonderful, tired of manifesting? Do this instead. I am your host, Tom Kearin, and these are the studios of Be Something Wonderful, where we help you level up and become the best version of yourself. Creators, good morning, and welcome back to the studios of Be Something Wonderful. One of you reached out and said, I am tired of manifesting. I'm exhausted with trying to stay in a state of the wish fulfilled. Well, we're going to talk about this today and more. It's not so much that you're tired of manifesting. You're just tired of not being that person that you desire to be. You're just tired of not occupying that reality that you desire to occupy. It's exhausting trying to feel something that you don't feel. It's exhausting trying to believe something that you don't believe. Neville Goddard said this about the feeling of the wish fulfilled. He said, when I speak of feeling, I do not mean emotion. In other words, the changing thoughts and feelings or emotions. He said, but the acceptance of the fact that it is fulfilled. The acceptance, the knowing that it is already fulfilled. Do you see this? It's not about trying to feel or believe something that you don't naturally feel and believe. It's the acceptance that I am already that which I desire to be. That I am already that which I imagine and want to be. Just as you would say, I am a doctor, well, you don't have to be operating in the operating room to know that. Or I am a lawyer, you don't have to be trying a case in this moment to prove it. Or I am a teacher, you don't have to be in the classroom teaching at this moment to prove or have evidence that you're a teacher or a lawyer or a doctor. It doesn't require physical manifested evidence or your physical senses to prove it. It's an acceptance of the fact that you are it. It's a knowing. Changing thoughts and feelings or emotion and appearances, or in other words, circumstances, are absolutely irrelevant. They're not proof or evidence of anything. It's a knowing and a conviction and the certainty that I am that which I desire, imagine, and assume to be. Wow, that's powerful. In the TV show The Chosen, which I've talked about many times in several videos, there's a certain scene in that TV show where Jesus meets up with the woman Lilith, right, who is possessed by demons, or in other words, by contrary conditions, by the thoughts and feelings and ideas that I am not that person I desire to be, by all those doubts and fears. That's what the idea of being possessed by demons means. Well, Jesus casts out those demons. And this woman that's called Lilith, he didn't call her by Lilith, he called her by Mary. In other words, her true awareness of being, who she really is. And he says to her, fear not, for I have redeemed you. I have called you by name. In other words, that is the state of wish fulfilled. That is the idea of knowing yourself as your ideal identity. Your true nature or name is I am. That is the feeling of wish fulfilled. It's not a changing emotion that you try to conjure and stay in. It's a knowing. I am that person I desire and want to be. I am Mary. She's not Lilith. She's Mary. That's her true nature. That's her true name. She doesn't need any other proof or evidence. Nothing else is required. I am awareness of being that which I desire to be. The feeling of wish fulfilled, that acceptance that I am that person that I assume, imagine, and desire to be, it casts out the need for proof or evidence from changing emotions and appearances. It casts out the contrary thoughts and circumstances. They're irrelevant. That's the meaning of Jesus, as your I am awareness, casting out the demons. It casts out the need for evidence. It casts out all those contrary appearances and thoughts and feelings. And Jesus says to Mary, "You are mine." Wow. You are mine. I get tingles in that scene. You are mine. In other words, it's the knowing and the certainty and the conviction that you're already that person you desire to be. Wow. That's powerful. And then later, Nicodemus, in another scene, Nicodemus sees Mary. Nicodemus was trying to cast out the demons. He was doing all sorts of rituals. He was burning incense, right? Trying to cast out demons. And he sees Mary, or Lilith, on the street and sees her completely healed or whole or fulfilled. A state of absolute wish fulfilled. And he's just shocked. And so he calls out to her, "Lilith," right? Because he remembers her. He's thinking that he's the one that did it, right? He's the one, he's responsible for that miracle. Him and his rituals and his incense. Just like we think it's all the processes and techniques that do it, right? All the ask-formations or affirmations or complaint formations, as we talked about it in a previous video, or the meditation or the imaginal scenes. We think that's did it, but it's never that. It's your acceptance that you are that person. And Mary says to Nicodemus when he calls out, "Lilith, I don't answer to that name. I am Mary." Wow, I was born Mary. Absolute conviction, absolute certainty. Even when the circumstances are in her face, implying something else. Nicodemus is in her face calling her Lilith. I don't answer to that name. I'm Mary. And Nicodemus is pressing her, wants to know. And he goes, she goes, "It was nothing that you did." In other words, it had nothing to do with the incense or the rituals or the processes or techniques or any of that stuff. Right? She goes, I don't really know myself, but I can tell you this. This is what she says, mind-boggling. "I was one way, and now I'm completely different." Wow. You don't get that from processes and techniques. You get that from a declaration that I am that person I desire to be. From that knowing, from that conviction. All processes and techniques and meditations and affirmations, they're all great. But remember, as Bashar says, the non-physical entity that's channeled through Darryl Anka, as Bashar says, they're all permission slips. They're giving you permission to believe and accept that you are that person that you desire to be, that you're occupying that reality that you desire to occupy. You don't need them. They're permission slips to yourself. I was one way and now I'm completely different. It's not an emotional state, the feeling of wish fulfilled. It's not an emotional state that you try to stay in and that you shift in and out of. It's an identity. It's an assumption. It's your truth of I am. You're not tired of manifesting. You're just tired of not being that person that you desire to be. I am your host, Tom Kearin, and these are the studios of Be Something Wonderful, where we help you level up and become the best version of yourself. Creators, be sure to join us on the Tom Kearin channel. We have another big video there. And this coming Sunday, we have our 5th live stream of the year, our 29th live stream to date on the Be Something Wonderful membership channel. This is where I answer your questions live as you ask them during the live stream. With great love, with great light and infinite gratitude, this is Tom Kearin here in the studios of Be Something Wonderful. Until next time, we'll see you soon.